There was a man named Thorstein who lived in Sunnadal. He was growing old and losing his sight. He had been a great Viking in his youth. Thorstein was not rich, but had many weapons. He had one son named Thorstein. Thorstein was a strong, large, capable man that did the work of 3 around the farm. Thorstein and Thorstein raised stud horses, and any money they had came from selling horses. Thord was a man who lived on Bjarne's farm in Hoff. He was said to be good with horses, so he took care of Bjarne's riding horses. Thord told everyone that he worked for a very important man. This did not make him popular or well-liked. There were also 2 brothers who worked at Bjarne's farm, whose names were Thorvald and Thorhall. They were known to be gossips and talked about anything that went on in the district. One summer day, Thord and Thorstein agreed to have a horse fight. During the fight, Thord noticed that Thorstein's horse was winning and his was losing. So he struck Thorstein's horse across the face with his staff. Thorstein then struck Thord's horse across the face with his staff. Thord's horse ran away, setting up a great tumult amongst those who were watching. Thord then took his staff and struck Thorstein across the head, causing a great bloody wound on Thorstein's head. Thorstein was calm, cut off a piece of his shirt, bandaged it up, and asked everybody who was watching not to talk about it, and particularly not to tell his father. Thorvald and Thorhall laughed and mocked Thorstein and called him Thorstein Staffstruck. About Yule that year, Thorstein got up early and went out to give hay to the horses. After he was done, he came back into the house and lay down on the sleeping bench to get a little warm. His father came into the room and asked who was there. Thorstein said, "It is I, Father." And his father said, "Are you well, son?" And Thorstein said, "As far as I can tell." "Well, then why were you up so early?" his father asked. He said, "Who else is there to do the work?" His father said, "You don't have a headache, son?" Thorstein said, No, I don't seem to have a headache." His father said, "Well, what can you tell me about that horse fight last summer where you were knocked down in the dirt like a dog?" Thorstein said, "Father, let's not talk about an incident that's long over with. It may have been an accident." His father said, "Well, I will not say as much as I would like to right now." Thorstein went and got his weapons and rode to Ayreton, where he found Thord working in the stables at Bjarne's farm. He said to Thord, "My friend, I wish to talk to you about that time last summer when you struck me across the head. Did you do it intentionally or by accident? And would you give me compensation for it?" Thord said, "Imagine you have 2 mouths, and one might say it was an accident. The other might say it was on purpose. And no, I am not going to give you any compensation." Thorstein said, "Very well, then I will not come back," and stepped forward and struck Thord dead. Thorstein then rode down to the farmhouse of Bjarne and found a woman working outside and told her, "Thord was gored by a bull at the stables, and you will find him there." She said, "I will tell Bjarne when it is time. You go home." So Thorstein went home. Later that morning, Bjarne got up for breakfast and sat down at table and said, "Where is my man Thord?" And everybody said, "Well, he must be up and taking care of the horses." Bjarne said, "Well, he would have been back by now if he was doing that." And the woman that Thorstein had talked to spoke and said, Oh, that shows you how stupid some women can be. Thorstein Staffstruck was here earlier this morning and told me that Thord had been gored by a bull and needed help in the stables. But I forgot, and I didn't want to wake you up at the time. So Bjarni went to the stables and found that Thord was there, dead. He buried Thord. Later, he took up an action against Thorstein and had him declared an outlaw, but did nothing further. In the fall of that year, Thorvald and Thorvald were sitting around butchering sheep, around the fire butchering sheep. Bjarni was in the shadows where he didn't know where they were. And they said, when we were hired by Bjarni the killer, who would have known that we would be here butchering sheep and an outlaw would be living on his father's farm still as if there was nothing wrong? Another man spoke up and said, who are you to speak up about this incident? It was better that nothing was said. We believe that Bjarni does not wish to take away the bread and butter from the blind father and the other dependents at the farm. Everybody then got up and went to eat and sleep, and Bjarni did not say anything about what he had heard. In the morning, however, he woke Thorvald and Thorvald up and said, well, you two seem to be concerned about my honor. So I believe you should go to Sunnadal and fetch me Thorstein's head and bring it back to me before breakfast. The brothers knew they had spoken too much in Bjarni's hearing, but they mounted up and went to Sunnadal and found Thorstein out in his stable yard sharpening his sword. He said, what are you doing here? He said, well, Bjarni has sent us to look at your horses. He said, very well. They were over there by the stable. He said, well, maybe it would be better if you came with us and showed us these horses. So the three of the men walked across the stable yard into the hayfield, where Thorvald rushed Thorstein with his axe. Thorstein blocked the blow, knocked him down into the dirt, and killed him with his sword. Thorvald, the other brother, then came forward as well, and soon met the fate of the first brother, and both were dead. Thorstein took their bodies, tied them to their horses' backs, threw the reins over the horses' necks, and drove them back to Hof. Soon, some farmhands at Hof called Bjarni out into the farmyard and said, the brothers are back, and their trip has not been in vain. Bjarni saw what had happened, simply buried the brothers, and did nothing further. Yule came around. Bjarni and his wife Ronvig were planning to go to bed. Ronvig said, have you heard what people are saying in the district? For Bjarni said, no, I don't believe I have. I don't believe in listening to things in the district. She said, they are saying that Thorstein has now killed 3 of your farm hands, and you have done nothing to revenge it. Bjarni said, Thorstein has not killed 3 guilty men. And then they went to bed. In the morning, Ronvig woke up, and Bjarni was taking his shield down from the wall. She said, where are you going? He said, I'm going to solve this matter of honor between Thorstein and myself. She said, how many are you taking with you? He said, I do not need an army to go against Thorstein. I'm going alone. She said, don't take yourself there against that evil man Thorstein and his weapons. He may kill you. He said, just like a woman, to urge one thing one time and then another thing another time. You cannot change my mind. So Bjarni went to Sunnadal and found Thorstein and said to him, I'm here to challenge you to single combat. Thorstein said, I am not prepared to meet you. I will leave Iceland because I know if that will take care of the matter, because I know you will take care of my father for me while I'm gone. Bjarne said, "It's too late for that. You must meet me." So they went out in the hayfield and started fighting. The fight went on for quite some time. Bjarne found that Thorstein was an excellent warrior. And at one point he stopped and he said, "You are much more used to this heavy work than I am. I have grown thirsty." Thorstein said, "Very well, go and take a drink." Bjarne bent over the brook to take a drink. Thorstein picked up his sword and said, "This is not the sword you must have had at Bodvarsdal." And then they went back to fighting. Again, after some time, Bjarne stopped the fight and said, "Now my shoes come untied." Thorstein said, "Very well, then tie it up." As Bjarne bent over to tie his shoe, Thorstein went into the house, brought back 2 shields and another sword, gave one shield and the sword to Bjarne, and said, "These are from my father." And then they continued to fight. Thorstein said, "I am still not willing to accept that you may win and I may lose. Can we not settle this another way?" Bjarne said, "No, we must fight." He struck Thorstein's shield and tore it away from him. Thorstein then struck back, breaking Bjarne's shield. He said, "Is there not another way to solve this?" Bjarne said, "Very well, I believe I can be compensated, for you work as well as 3 men, if you will come and live with me at Hof." Thorstein said, "I would be willing to do that. But let me go." Bjarne then said, "Let me go talk to your father." Thorstein said, "Very well, but be careful." So Bjarne went into the house where Thorstein was lying in the bed closet. Thorstein said, "What news, my friend Bjarne?" Bjarne said, "The death of your son." Thorstein said, "Did he die well?" Bjarne said, "I have not known any other man who was so keen on battle." Thorstein said, "Very well, it is sad that I have lost a son, but I can understand. It's a matter of honor." Bjarne then said, "I wish to have you come and live with me at Hof. I will give you one of the 2 places of honor at my table, and I will be like a son to you." Thorstein said, "Chieftains' promises are often cheap, but I will take your offer and have come to Hof. Step into the closet and take my hand, for I am weak and still have not quite taken in the effect of having lost my son." Bjarne stepped forward and took Thorstein's hand, and then saw he was reaching for a knife under his blankets to stab him. He stepped back, pulling his hand away, and said, "You old fart! Thorstein is alive. He is coming to live with me at Hof and work for me, and I will give you slaves while you stay here on the farm, and they will take care of you." So Thorstein went to Hof and worked on Bjarne's farm for the rest of his life. Bjarne, in his older age, became well known in the district for being of good judgment and sound character, and took up religion in his life. And actually went on a pilgrimage to Rome, and died very close to reaching Rome, and is buried near the city of Rome. Thus ends the story of Thorstein's stepson.